of a letter to God, and I'm going to explain it in the simplest English possible. So, even if English is not your strongest subject, you'll follow every single line. But we are not just going to read the story today, we are going to read it the way a topper reads it. Because the truth is, this little chapter has small, hidden spots where the exam marks are sitting, and most students walk right past them. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand the whole story, you'll know exactly what to write to score full marks. If you appreciate this type of content, gently tap that like button. Let's dive into it. Alright, let's start at the very beginning with the setting because the writer sets it up very carefully. The author of this story is G.L. Fuentes, and the story is about a farmer named Lencho. Now, picture this: Lencho's house is the only house standing on top of a low hill, all alone, looking down over a valley. He has a wife, he has children, and he has one field of ripe corn. And I want you to remember that word, one field. This isn't a rich man with many fields. This is his entire life sitting in that one piece of land. So everything that's about to happen happens to the only thing he has. Now the field needs just one thing, a good shower of rain. And Lencho is not a careless farmer. He is experienced. He looks at the sky, he reads the clouds, and he knows the rain is coming. And when those first big drops finally fall, he is overjoyed. He goes out and feels the rain on his body. And he says something that you must remember for your exam. He says, the big drops are like new coins. Now stop here for a second. Why coins? Because in Lencho's mind, rain equals a good harvest, and a good harvest equals money. So to him, every drop falling from the sky is literally money falling onto his field. That little line tells you how much hope he has. Hold on to that image because the writer is about to flip it completely. Because suddenly the weather turns. A strong wind starts blowing, and along with that rain, huge hailstones begin to fall. Now, if you don't know that word, hailstones are hard balls of ice that fall from the sky during a storm. And these aren't small. For one full hour, they crash down on Lencho's field. Lencho even runs out and looks, and his heart sinks. The corn is finished. The flowers are gone. Every leaf has been knocked off the plants. And here's the line the writer uses: the field looked white as if it was covered with salt. That's your picture. A field that was green and full of life, now completely white and dead. And Lancho compares the storm to a plague of locusts. Locusts are insects that destroy crops in huge numbers. because the damage is just as total. In 1 hour, his whole year is wiped out. Now we come to the most important line in the entire chapter for your exam. So listen carefully. That night, the family is heartbroken. They keep saying the same painful thing, all that work for nothing. But then comes this line: in the whole valley, there was only one hope, the help of God. Write that down in your memory because this single line is the hinge of the story. It tells you that Lencho has lost his crop, but he has not lost his faith. And it's his faith that drives everything that happens next. Quick break. If you want all of this neatly written down in easy points with the difficult words and the exam answers already done for you, I've made a free notes PDF for this exact chapter. The link is in the description and the pinned comment below. Download it, keep it open while you watch, and your revision is basically finished. Now let's get back to it. So, because Lencho believes God will help, he does something extraordinary. The very next Sunday at daybreak, he sits down and writes a letter to God. In that letter, he explains his situation and asks God for 100 pesos. Pesos is simply the money they use in the story. He needs that money to plant his field again and feed his family until the next crop comes. Then he does the part that moves the whole story forward. He puts the letter in an envelope, and on the front he writes just 2 words: to God. He sticks a stamp on it and drops it into the post box. Now the letter reaches the post office, and this is where the second half of the story begins. A postman picks it up, sees the address, to God, and starts laughing. He has never seen anything like it. He takes it to his boss, the postmaster. Now pay attention to the postmaster because he is the quiet hero of this chapter. He is described as a kind, friendly man. He laughs too at first, but then, looking at the letter, he becomes serious and he thinks to himself, what incredible faith this man has. I wish I had faith like this. And right there, he makes a decision that tells you everything about his character. He decides he will not let that faith be broken. He is going to answer the letter himself as if the reply is coming from God. But here's the problem: the postmaster wants to send 100 pesos, but he can't gather that much. So he does what he can. He gives a part of his own salary. He asks his employees to chip in. Some of his friends donate a little too. And after all that effort, they manage to collect only 70 pesos, not the full 100. He puts that money in an envelope addressed to Lencho. and instead of his own name, he signs it with one word, God. That's a beautiful moment. A real human being quietly doing good and giving God the credit. And now we reach the ending, and this is where you earn your top marks. So stay with me. The next Sunday, Lencho comes back and he is handed the envelope with the money. Now, watch his reaction because it's the opposite of what you'd expect. He is not surprised, not even a little. Why? Because in his mind, of course, God replied. He never doubted it for a second. But then he counts the money, 70 pesos, and he had asked for 100. And here is the heart of the whole chapter. Lencho is absolutely certain that God could never ever make a mistake. So if 30 pesos are missing, then in his mind, someone must have stolen them. And who does he blame? The post office, the very people who actually collected the money and helped him. He sits down and writes a second letter to God, asking for the remaining 30 pesos. But he adds a warning: don't send it through the post office because the people, they are, in his exact words, a bunch of crooks. And a crook simply means a dishonest person, a cheat. So let me hand you the big idea to write in your answer. This is called irony, and irony means the opposite of what you expect actually happening. The people Lencho calls thieves are his real, kind hearted helpers, and the help he believes came from heaven actually came from ordinary people in a small post office. On one side, you have blind faith, and on the other side, you have quiet human goodness. And the man at the center can only see one of them. Write that contrast in your exam, and you'll stand out from every student who only retold the story. So now you don't just know what happens in a letter to God, you understand why every part matters and what to write. The next step is to lock in the questions that actually come in the exam. I've made a video that goes through the most important questions and the perfect way to answer them. So you walk in fully prepared. You can check it out by clicking right here. I'll see you in that one.